A pleasant day to each and everyone. My name is Martin Kusujuningon from BSed General Science 3, and I am here to discuss my topic, which is all about the ecosystem. But before I proceed to my topic, let us know first the learning objective. So, in this lesson, we will be able to learn about the different ecosystems, observe and describes habitats within an ecosystem, know the components of the ecosystem, differentiate the types of ecosystem, and learn about the significance of biotic and abiotic components. So now, I have a trivia here. Did you know that half of the world's species live in a tropical rainforest? Yes. Tropical rainforests are near the equator where it's almost always warm and wet. So these are the key ingredients for making lots of lush plants and trees. Half of the world's plants and animals live in the tropical rainforest. It is a very busy ecosystem with many kinds of plants, fungi, and microscopic organisms. So now, the question is, what is ecosystem? So ecosystem is made up of animals, plants, and bacteria as well as the physical and chemical environment they live in. So the important thing about ecosystems is that the organism exchange energy and nutrients among themselves, and with the environment they can be natural as well as artificial. So an ecosystem, it is an interaction among the members of biotic community and includes their interaction with the non-living environment. So the environments determine what organism can live where and how many of them can live there. So this organism live in a specific type of environment called habitats. So now let's proceed to the components of the ecosystem. So, first we have the biotic components, are the living things that have a direct or indirect influence on another organism in an environment. For example, plants, animals, and microorganisms and their waste materials. The next is abiotic components. Include all the chemical and physical elements, like for example, non-living components. Abiotic components can vary from region to region, from one ecosystem to another. They mainly take up the role of life supporter. So that's the abiotic components. So last components of the ecosystem is the terrestrial ecosystem that consists of abiotic factors like climate, types of soil or rock, altitude, temperature, nutrients, and minerals. Whereas abiotic components in an aquatic ecosystem includes dissolved gases, depth of water, salinity, light intensity, and etc. So, the relevance of biotic and abiotic components in an environment appears when they start interacting with each other. So, for example, biotic elements like plants provide food from the organisms. So, the soil is the abiotic element which supports the growth of the plants by providing nutrients and other essential elements. So, biotic component depend on abiotic components for their survival and help in the formation of the biotic factors like soil and nutrients. So that's the components of the ecosystem. The abiotic components, and the terrestrial components. So now, let's proceed to another one, which is the significance of biotic and abiotic components. So, in the significance of biotic and abiotic components consists of the producers, consumers, and the decomposers. So, what is the producers? So, this includes all the autotrophs. They use light energy and synthesize food on their own. Example, plants, green algae, and etc. So the next one is the consumer. This includes all the heterotrophs that directly or indirectly depend on producers for their food. Consumers are further categorized as herbivore, carnivores, omnivores, and parasites. So the next one is the decomposers. This includes saprophytes which act on dead matter and decay them from their nutritions. So now let's proceed on the types of the ecosystem, which are the natural ecosystem and the man-made ecosystem. So now, what is the natural ecosystem? So natural ecosystem is the result of the interaction between the organism and the environment. So that's the natural ecosystem. So natural ecosystem consists of forests. So original forests are also called primary forests. When the forest trees are cut down and they grow again, the forest is then called second growth forest or secondary forest. So the primary forests in the lowlands include mangrove forests, dipterocarp forest, and Malawi forest. So as you can see on the picture, those are the old trees. The next one is the Greenlands. So the term Greenlands refers to the land with natural grass cover. So without trees or very few widely scattered trees, most of the grasslands in tropical countries are the results of the destruction of the forest. So in some of the natural formation, for instance, the dominant vegetations in many grasslands in the Philippines are the Kogon along hillsides and talahib in the lowlands where there is more water. So the last one are the coastal zones. So the coastal zones is the part of the natural ecosystem. So the term coastal zone is a type of ecosystem referring to a strip of land at the edge of the sea or lake. It includes both the exposed and the submerged portion of the land. So the coastal zone has mangrove forests, beaches, tidal flats, and coral reefs. So as you can see on the picture, this is the example of the coastal zones. So now, let's move on to the man-made ecosystem. So the man-made ecosystem, an ecosystem which is created and maintained by human being. So that's the man-made ecosystem. So a man-made ecosystem is a kind of ecosystem that is built and maintained by people. So man-made ecosystems are unique in the sense that people deliberately play a major role in the functioning of the ecosystem. Example of man-made ecosystem are the rice fields, fish ponds, and urban ecosystem. So as you can see on the picture, this is the example of the rice fields before and after harvesting. So now, before I end this lesson, I want to end this for this quotation. The struggle you're in today is developing the strength you need for tomorrow by Daily Coach. And that would be all. Thank you.